Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are playing Rule the Waves as the US. We just won our war against France, which we won very handily and which did allow us to take Algeria, and during the course of the war we also took Guangzhou 1, I'm going to say. And yeah, that was pretty nice. Nevertheless, we are now in a bit of a peculiar situation because after the war Congress has decreased our funding by quite a bit, and we are now running a deficit of £6 million per month. Our current funds are at 11 million, so we don't have much breathing room. Nevertheless, we need to bounce back from that. And war in the immediate future is looking somewhat unlikely. So, you know, with that being said, we can take a turn over here and see where our funding actually ends up. Enhanced training. Why is that still an issue? Change pending. Okay, so never mind. Last time I took the choice to not train gunnery anymore, but we would still be left with 11 months worth of their training, so I'm going to stop training completely immediately now, and that means we get this amount here back. Nevertheless, you know, we are still way beyond our means, living beyond our means here. We do have the 2 California class battleships, and are currently building 2 more dreadnoughts, which would really put us into not even, slightly the lead in front of Great Britain. Although they of course do also have better cruisers. So yeah, that doesn't quite work out this way. So what we need to do is take a look at our expenditures over here. As you can see, our monthly budget is about 10 million, and we are above that by more than 50%. So drastic steps need to be taken. Maintenance is eating about half of our budget. Construction is eating, in fact, nearly all of our construction. Enhanced training will go away. Intelligence spending. We are spending quite a bit on Japan, also to maybe push them to war, and on Russia, but we are going to decrease that for now so that we are getting somewhere at least. In terms of construction, things aren't quite as bad as they look, because in 2 months, from 2 months onwards, there'll be about 2.7 million funds being freed up by the finishing of these light cruisers. Nevertheless, we also need to have a look at maintenance over here. So, what can we do in terms of maintenance? One thing is that the dreadnought ships, the California class, as we've seen a lot of times, these guys really outclass the pre-dreadnought battleships, and that's really, you know, the defining shift during this age, that people were going from this type of pre-dreadnought battleship with 2 turrets and a lot of smaller guns towards guns with a lot of heavy caliber guns, and that basically rendered effectively all of these ships pretty much obsolete, and that is true in this game as well. Nevertheless, we designed one intermediate ship, the Ohio, which is also just carrying 2 main armored weapons, but also a couple of secondary turrets. So sometimes this was called a semi-dreadnought, or an all-big gun mixed caliber battleship. So all big guns, 10 and 11 inches, but with mixed caliber, which of course was a horrible idea because of all the logistics and all of that. But nevertheless, you know, it was difficult to strike the right balance, and it took a while for this to catch on. And of course even longer to get to a more or less modern design, like our Nevada class over here, which has 4 turrets, which are all centerline and super far. So, question is now, what do we do with our old battleships? We do have 3 classes of old battleships. The New York class, which we started off with, the Montana class, which was being built as we started the game, and the Ohio class, which we finished ourselves. I do think that the New York class over here is badly outclassed, and that this is not worth keeping around for too long. We might want to scrap them entirely. For now, I do think that we will put them into a mothball situation. So we will tell these 4 ships to be very much decreased, maintenance. The New York class, it would be only 400,000 to get it active again. So the New York was badly damaged in a battle off the coast of France by a torpedo hit. Had to spend a couple of turns in. It wasn't turned, then it was returned to us. Now it's being built up and it's at increased maintenance because it is trying to be rebuilt basically, or be fixed from that damage. It's not a lot of money, but I really don't think it's worth it to keep it around anymore, so we will in fact scrap this ship for a mere $20,000. Not feeling good about this, but needs to be done. The Ohio class over here is still, I think, a viable ship. It's not a great ship, but it's viable. The Montana, on the other hand, with the speed disadvantage, I also don't. I mean, it does have more guns, a bit better armor than the New York class, so I think we will tell it to go to reserve status. So again, at decreased maintenance, but not quite as low. In fact, I think we will also, pardon that, we will also tell the Ohios to be in reserve status. I think the Montana will go to mothball after all. That does free up a couple of funds. We are now at minus 3 million out of 5 million funds. In 2 turns, funds will be starting to flow in, so I do think that's going to be okay. Other than that, these guys are still moving around. Let's sort by location briefly. There are a couple of things on the west coast that are in mothball situation. Okay, love it. Then we have the heavy cruisers and light cruisers. The Des Moines class is an okay ship. At 22 knots is too slow to surface for a long time in the future, but it's there for now. Although we might in fact want to put these guys also into reserve for the time being. What else do we have on the east coast? The motor ships we put into mothball situation already. Then there should be the light cruisers, or the heavy cruisers, and the destroyers. These destroyers, which are obsolete by any means, are mothballed. That's fine. So what do we do with the heavy cruisers? We've got two different classes over here. The Brooklyn. It is still a mixed bag. We inherited these guys, and I really don't know what's up with this configuration of 2 9-inch guns. And the San Diego. The San Diego is our colonial class cruiser, which we need to keep to fulfill our tonnage on foreign station requirement. In fact, there are 2 of these. There's the San Diego and the San Francisco, I believe, which should be somewhere in the list. Oh yeah, there it is. And currently this guy is traveling home because the crew morale suffered a bit, and the San Diego is taking over. So these guys are always, one is active, the other isn't. The Brooklyns, for now, we're going to also put them into the reserve status. Alright, I'm saving quite a lot of money here. Who's even selected? The Pittsburgh. Again, what a weird gun. What a weird gun layout. An inherited ship with a lot of 6-inch guns on the east coast. You go to reserve. as soon as the war seems more likely, we can restart that, but for now that's fine. Our 2 battleships will definitely keep active. All of these guys are still traveling, so that's fine. And there's a ship in West Africa, a light cruiser. You, my friend, should probably be going to the North American East Coast. That was probably a raider that we sent out there to do some damage. Right, good. Okay, so yeah, we have enough breathing room for 2 rounds now. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So take the 10. And here we go. Great Britain consists to be a rearmament program. The government asks for your advice. We can condemn all that and increase tensions or bite the bullet. So I think we are going to increase tensions with the UK and increase our funding because they would be very welcomed by about a million. Yeah, there we go. More ships in Northern Europe than we can support. That is these guys over here. Some of them are in fact experiencing some trouble, but they are all passing through anyway, so no biggie there. More ships arriving on the west coast. Bainbridge class destroyers, Decatur class destroyers, 2 torpedo tubes, a couple of light guns. Can I get an overview of everyone who's on the west coast for now, please? A heavy cruiser at Brooklyn, reserve, and then a couple of light cruisers, Chicago class light cruisers, which are considered obsolete. Why are you considered obsolete? With 12 4-inch guns. You cost a bit more than the Des Moines even. Yeah, I agree. You guys will be scrapped. Yes. Gaining some money, nice. Also reducing our expenditures is always good. The Des Moines class on the west coast we are going to put in reserve. These guys are mothballed, the main bridges. Still, I think it's worth keeping them around. And then we have Huntington in reserve. You guys should also be mothballed. And you're not costing that much anyway. Right, so the entire West Coast fleet, we do only have this Olympia class over here, which is still active. That's same speed as a Des Moines, not the long range though. Very small displacement. And 5-inch guns. I think we're going to scrap that. Just free up everything a bit, making sure that everything is at least somewhat on the same standard, and that should be fine. So who is active at all? We only have 5 active ships. The battleships, the light cruisers, the San Francisco, which is going to the east coast, yes, so that is okay, and the San Diego. And 2 light Des Moines classes we'll put into reserve once they come into pull up into the east coast. That's fine, you know. War seems to be reasonably far away, so yeah. And our deficit is really okay right now. Our first light cruiser is being commissioned into the Navy of the Tacoma class. Where do we have that? It should be under working up condition. So here we go. A bit of a novel layout for us with a lot of centerline ships on light cruiser, but it's supposed to be much quicker than what we had so far. And that's important for us to be able to tackle the reconnaissance needs in the age of the battleship, because the enemy battle cruisers, as you can see over here, somewhere, yeah, do have a speed of 25 knots. And we'd like to be able to get away from them and be able to, yeah, still do some useful reconnaissance about them. So yeah, it's important to get that going. So we would have 4 light cruisers, which is of course a bit on the light side. I do think we might want to briefly look at the possibility for a new destroyer. Our latest destroyer is the Stuart class over here. So let's open this design. It's a short range, speed optimized thing, so it's really there for coastal defense. Not armored at all, cramped accommodation, so it's really not that great. What would happen if we were to auto-design a ship? It would go up to 900 tons and give us some illegal design over here. That's hilarious. Which one is that? I am guessing that one is DW. Is that big now? Too many? Not sure how many you may have. So 4 centerline torpedoes and 4 gun positions is too many. Generally 7. 7 is too many. Really? You're not even content with 6? Okay, use single turrets on the 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. And you can get rid of this and that. So more like this. You'd be happy now? Yeah, you will. At 28 knots, what would happen if we were to use short and speed and cramped and coal? Coal does reduce the cost, so I'm more or less content with that. Although of course it does, especially on the speed optimized thing, I think coal is fine because the machinery weight isn't actually that significant. You don't have any tertiary guns. A 900 ton displacement ship. Oh, and it does have mines. That's very nice to see. Yeah, I would like that to be the case. I don't think this is legal. Nope. Can you use 5-inch guns? Nope. So 4-inch guns are really the most highest we can use. Could use more torpedoes on the side, but I do think that, you know, if we have it on the center line, then it should be able to engage anything. 28 knots speed is, I believe, you could turn it up a bit. 30 knots, yeah, I think that's good. That would be able to engage battleships. Placing some mines, that is important. We will not be putting any armor on you. So I think in fact we could reduce the tonnage by a bit. 700? I don't see us gaining a lot of capability just by increasing let's say the guns on that. And we can't put any more turrets, so I think that's fine. The alternative is only just how much does it cost us? We have 15 knots now, 15 tons now. If we were to go on medium with both of these, minus 40, let's say, so at 55 tons. So going up by 200. Okay, going up by 200 tons means this is going to cost us 3 million. Versus this one, that would cost us, well, basically a fifth less. But we would not be able to send them overseas. I think that's fine. This is really our coastal defense, so yeah, let's go with this. Oh, okay. I see, so you are forced to be 800 tons anyway. You are forced to be 300 tons anyway. That means we might as well go to 1,000. I think it's not possible. Slightly overweight. Slightly overweight ship. 10% increase in cost. 29. I really would like 30. Armor lines is on the low side. It's not true. You're supposed to use your torpedoes anyway. But we can't really use that much further. Let's go for speed, short range, cramped accommodation, and go down to 800. I think this is a legal design. Yes. If you really want to, yes, fine. So everything looks fine. Can we get 2 more knots? Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, good. Yes, understood and accepted. And we are going to build 2 of these at the same time. Good. Very nice. Here we go. Set the turn. Reno is commissioned. Horizontal turbines, that's nice. Warfare mines, good. Getting some money. By the way, didn't I want to put more light cruisers on stating the Des Moines classes over here? You should be really in the reserve fleet. Yeah, saving some money, 800,000. So that means we can build more of these destroyers. Let's get a good squadron of 4 ships. That should be fine. Looking good. And next turn this actually should be resumed. Right, there we go. It's a bit of a deficit, but next turn that will evaporate. Boosted our industrial production, so also decreasing our deficit. Horizontal turbines, good to see. Secretly increased. Let down, let down, let down. Yeah, fine. Turn. Finishing working up. That's not good. That would be nice. Secondary turrets on battleships. Yay! That's a good development. Destroyer kamikaze. I'm worried about that development. Okay, let's see. So we are building 2 battleships that will be ready in 1.5 to 2 years. 1 light cruiser that will be coming into play alongside with that, and within like 3 quarters of a year that. We have a couple of active status ships now, but come over here is an active light cruiser, but I think we'll keep that around for the time being. We could briefly think about our motor ships and open the Annie-Colon design and see whether we could do anything better today. I don't necessarily think we could, no. Actually, can I look at the Tacoma and open the design? I'd like you to have some minds. Okay, we cannot override that, but I can rebuild that, right, to this design. Okay, so we made some advances, but 20 mines would still be nice to get on there. Yeah, okay. How much would it cost? Just 500,000. Let's do it. And these guys here we'll also rebuild to receive some mining racks. And you can rebuild you or change your... Don't think we can. That's fine. Okay. We are not making or losing any money really. Dock size is increased. The smallest tonnage of large cruisers, carriers or battleships in service of all the great powers. The president is displeased. That's not good. Fleet cruising formation, okay. That means we want to get some more heavy cruisers or battle cruisers. And in fact I had laid my eyes towards getting some battle cruisers as well, because in fact we don't have any and other nations do. So we want to design a battle cruiser. We do have some more minutes in this episode, so I think that's a good start to do that. Let's start in fact out from the design of the Nevada class. And what would we want to change to get to a battle cruiser? Now again, the enemy battle cruisers have a speed of I believe 25 knots for Germany and for... Ooh, look at that, one of them is quicker than the other. And for Great Britain as well. Anyone else doesn't currently have battle cruiser? Oh yeah, everyone has. So France 26, 26. Yeah, okay. So speed 26 seems to be at least the norm. Ideally, of course, we'd like to be a little quicker. Nevada is using coal. Let's pick oil firing for our ships. Let's reset things. Let's use long range. Let's use reliable engines. Let's see how that would work out with a forward, forward superimposed, an aft superimposed, and an aft double turret of 15 calibers. Weight would of course be minimal. We would like to get some torpedo defenses and see where we can where we stand. So that would clearly be more of the battle cruiser design. Ship must have suffice, so that is not even in there yet. So ship is seriously overweight. Yeah, we kind of knew that. But other than that, it looks at least like a valid design. So first off, we can put our secondary guns in double turrets over here, although that is not in fact affecting the weight at all. And I do think we want to at least get some armor on that. Oh, even though it's even more so increasing our weight problem. What if we do this in single? Oh, that's even worse. We can go up with the weight a bit because our dock size has increased, but we are still very, very far off. So, what do we intend the role for this ship to be? I mean, on the one hand, it would be very, very nice to have this 14 caliber 8 guns, and that can just wreck the enemy. But realistically, I think this is more of a scouting platform. I think overall we are on the low side here anyway with the with our armor, so I don't want it to be any less. That's really not viable. We could, if we reduce this, then we would go we'd lose 1,000 tons, which is very significant. But then again, we want to be able to have a true blue water navy. So I think this is much more of a scouting platform, even though it would be the heaviest ship in our arsenal. The machinery weight does add quite a bit here, but not that significant. So I don't think it's that much worthwhile to lower it. On the other hand, the armament is really what's taking the blunt here. So we could think about removing one turret, but I don't think that's very prudent. I think we might much rather go down in the max caliber over here. That would mean lower quality, lesser guns, I should say. But it's fine, I think. For a scouting platform, 12 caliber inch guns will still be able to wreck every light cruiser and everything like that. So to me, that's fine. That's a decent choice. That's okay. We can do so. We can live with that. It's basically trading throwing capacity for speed, which is a valid design for a battle cruiser. You know, the British in World War One decided to base their battle cruisers more on trading armor for speed. So their cruisers had basically the same guns, a higher speed but less armor than the battleships, and that didn't really work out that well for them in the Battle of Jutland, where the battle cruisers all pretty much blew up because the German guns could penetrate that. And if we look at this, then you can see that we are really running low here. I mean, at 5,000 yards, I guess, engagement range, our own gun could actually penetrate the turrets. And that's not good. I wouldn't want to go any further down. And of course, to be useful, it does need some speed. Would it be legal? What? Ah, damn it. We only got that for battleships, not for battle cruisers. So in fact, we need a casemate design over here. Yeah, and it's still slightly overweight, which I guess is true. We wouldn't want to pack less ammo. We wouldn't want to pack less secondary caliber guns, especially for a scout ship. So 100 tons? What could we do? Even 1 caliber lower? No, that would be crazy. 1 not less would work. Slightly, ever so slightly less armor. I'm not a big fan of that, but we might have to do it. So I'm going to use slightly less deck extended armor, and I think that's fine. And there's a bit of wiggle room left for maybe increasing directors, but it's not much. And for now, I think that should be fine. So let's check that. That is all okay. We will save that. Did we save it as a Nevada? Yeah, in fact we did. So let's take Lexington. Lexington's better, I believe. Yes. It would ruin us to build this, and we don't have that much capacity to do so. Even if these guys are finished, we'll probably not be able to build this now. So we will keep it. I don't think we actually got a message by the president to actually necessarily build it, but we'll definitely keep that in mind for now. Nevertheless, I think it's a good time to put in a cut. We do have some money and no tensions at all with Japan. It wouldn't actually be a super bad time to start a war with the UK, because we are roughly on par in battleships and they aren't outspending us by that much actually. Oh, interesting. Okay, anyway, good time to put in a cut, so thank you guys for watching and I'll see you again next time.